Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody. Thank you for listening. I hope you are doing very well and having an amazing day in general, regardless of the time. And finally, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Nautical Lariat Show, aka the Nautical Lariat Podcast, episode 3. As you can see, just like last week, I am in no way, shape, or form on the screen visually speaking, other than this beautiful picture of myself. I will probably keep this audio-only format for the next few weeks, or even to the next few months, depending on my filming and editing workload. Big things are happening, and I cannot wait to share everything with you guys. Myself and my amazing crew are so over the moon on showing you everything we have cooked up in our metaphorical kitchen, so please stay tuned. With that being said, make sure you guys like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, hit the bell notification on all my videos, my posts, and even more. This is a great way to stay up to date on all things Nautical Lariat and Batson Jones. It also helps keep engagement up for me, which is always very nice. The handles for YouTube and Instagram are currently on the screen in 2 different places, so I don't really feel the need to explain what those are. Just pause the video if need be. If you'd like to support me and all my other ridiculous adventures even further, you can go on www.prowrestlingtees.com/Cutthroat Batson Jones to pick up a CBJ t-shirt. They are currently $15.99 USD, which is one of the cheapest t-shirts across the entire site. Okay, enough plugging and such. WWE just went back to Saudi Arabia for their PLE Night of Champions. I always get Night of Champions and Clash of Champions mixed up. I really wish WWE would just combine the two of them in some way, because even when you're on the network or on Peacock or on Netflix and you see the 2 different PLEs, they're the same PLE. It's just the changing of one word. Anyway, we have a lot to discuss about this and the lead up, as in Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide, so sit back, relax, chill, and listen to me talk way too much about all things WWE. First up, Worlds Collide, 75%, 15 out of 20, a solid C. Honestly, it was a glorified house show. I'm incredibly excited to see WWE working with other wrestling promotions, major wrestling promotions. Just like comic books, us wrestling fans love to see a good crossover. Speaking of which, Batman and Deadpool will be getting a crossover, as well as Daredevil and Green Arrow for the upcoming Marvel and DC Comics crossover. John Cena also hinted at this at the Fanatics Fest. I think it was at the Fanatics Fest. I'm a hobby journalist, so I don't delve too deep into this stuff unless if I'm getting paid, which I'm not. Anyways, John Cena was asked if he wanted to join the MCU, and he said he'd rather combine those sandboxes and enter the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Peacemaker. That's great PR for DC Comics. That's great PR for Peacemaker and Superman, and that's overall just great PR for James Gunn. So, good job, John Cena. Back to Worlds Collide and crossovers. I think this was a phenomenal first outing for WWE running a show with AAA. With that being said, the only thing that was stuck in everyone's heads several weeks after the show isn't the amazing 6-man matches or the main event with Chad, not El Grande Americano Gable, and Vikingo. No, instead it is one man, Mr. Iguana. As the great Simon Miller would say, Goofy Wrestling for life. And this, my friends, is Goofy Wrestling, and it's amazing. If you're not aware, Mr. Iguana is a luchador that does all of his moves with a pet stuffed iguana Muppet. It's cute, it's adorable, it's hilarious, and it's just all-around good family-friendly fun. So yeah, in short, this was a very good house show, in quotations. Definitely a show that was better if you were in attendance versus watching it at home, like me. It was chock full of Mexican, Lucha Libre, and AAA history, which is nice for the fans who don't know anything outside of WWE. However, this was, I'm assuming, only for the streaming audience, which is good if you like sport documentaries and exposition dumping like me, but not so fun if you just wanted to watch a flippy-dippy spot fest wrestling show. Another key thing to note is the aftermath of the show, with AAA and TNA doing another show a few weeks later. With this show, there were very few WWE talent on it, besides Angel and Humberto winning the tag titles. A notable AAA talent, who WWE doesn't want to be associated with, was on the show. Alberto El Patron, formerly known as Alberto Del Rio. Was this a WWE decision to keep a majority of their roster off the show due to this one exiled talent? Or was it a AAA TNA move to essentially promote, hey, we're gonna book the shows how we want to? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's also very interesting to note that during the AAA WWE show, Worlds Collide, they had a 4-sided ring, whereas with the AAA TNA show, they went back to one of the staples of both AAA and TNA, the 6-sided ring. So it's very interesting that so much changed with AAA just between two shows with WWE and with TNA. Moving straight into Money in the Bank 2025, 87%, 17.25 out of 20, giving it a B+. This was an incredible show and a great way to end the wrestling-filled weekend. Plus, Mr. Iguana was invited to the show and got the biggest pop of the night. Or maybe the second biggest. The first being the return of Ron the Truth Killings. But let's backtrack to see how this all happened. All of the matches were fine. I'm not going to do a play-by-play on them, but the women's ladder match was very well executed. Although the story felt flat, the biggest part of the match was Naomi's victory. I love Naomi, and I cannot wait for her heel run as WWE Champion. Then we have Becky beating Lyra in an amazing match. Great story. I'm finally on board with this feud, but it's only as soon as it finishes. Of course. I hopped on the bandwagon far too late on this one. Next, we had Dominic, Dirty Dom, defending his IC Championship against Octagon Jr. I love Dominic. I love that he's defending against shapes. First it was Penta, and now it's Octagon. I don't know why, but luchadors apparently love geometry. Also, apparently Dirty Dominic Mysterio is currently injured. I hope he has a speedy recovery, and I hope he's able to defend that Intercontinental Championship sooner rather than later. Finally, Seth wins the Money in the Bank in a great ladder match. Americano had the craziest spot with parkour as he was running up a ladder before getting annihilated by LA Knight with a brutal back suplex from the top of the ladder. Jacob Fatu came in, turned face on Solo, and Seth capitalized on all the mayhem and won. I would have liked to have seen LA Knight win, but I really liked all the storylines interweaving in this match, so I'm not too upset that Seth won. Seth definitely deserves it, and I personally think Seth is going to cash in on Cody once Cody wins the WWE Championship. And WWE, please, I've seen the hinting, don't turn Cody heel. Cody and Jay then beat John Cena and Logan Paul. Cena and Logan, aka the heels, couldn't get on the same page, of course, because they're heels. Jay took an ass whooping throughout the entire match. Logan hit an amazing moonsault onto the announce table, as well as taking a gnarly looking suplex and a frog splash from Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. With a drone shot, might I add. That drone shot, drones and pro wrestling go together like peanut butter and jelly. It is a match made in heaven. You can get so many interesting different camera angles with a drone. I love it. I love that they're introducing this more and more. Finally, Ron Killings returned, got the biggest pop of the night, and then Cody pinned the WWE Champion, John Cena. I love the match probably more than I should have, but the feel-good finish was everything. Before I get into everything, R-Truth and Ron Killings, I just also want to note, WWE, you just had Cody Rhodes pin John Cena. Was it necessary to put him in the King of the Ring in the long run? No, because one, he never got his rematch already, so I'm pretty sure the rematch clause is still a thing in WWE. And two, he has a pin over the WWE Champion. So I think it was a little counterproductive to put him in the King of the Ring. I would have liked to have seen someone else get that shot. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Karrion Kross. But I digress. WWE wrote the wrong of releasing R-Truth. What I didn't appreciate was Triple H pretty much saying it was all part of the show. You like the show? You like the show? Yeah, it's all part of the show. Which is not necessarily correct. I know. Chris Van Vliet has gone on the record on his own podcast and said that Triple H could have meant this in many different ways, and it is hard to know for sure what Paul meant while fielding this question of, was Ron being released a work or a shoot? In short, it was a shoot, guys. It was real. Triple H said this was all part of the show because Ron returning to Money in the Bank was written into that show's final script, meaning that it was part of the show. However, the means of getting to Money in the Bank and this exact moment was not part of the story. WWE released Ron Killings, aka R-Truth. In result of this, Ron didn't answer the phone from WWE until Khan called. Khan called because WWE saw the discourse and the outpour and the love to bring back Truth. And they did. They made the mistake and they reversed it. So when fielding questions for Money in the Bank and Ron being re-signed, Triple H was trying to keep face for both himself and WWE by saying it was all a part of the show, when in reality, the answer he gave wasn't in relation to the question being asked. The question was if Ron's release was part of the show, and the answer to that is no. The answer given was, it's all part of the show. So technically speaking, Ron being at that specific show was a part of the show, but Ron being released to get to that show and to attack John Cena in this huge new angle was not a part of the original plan. It doesn't make any sense for them to release Ron Killings just to re-sign Ron Killings just because of a storyline. That's ridiculous. These are real people's lives. That's ridiculous. I see the direction WWE and Triple H were going for, but it wasn't executed well, and at this point, they just needed to say, we screwed up. Hell, even Ron Killings and his son went on social media to say this was not part of the story, and this was not a work. Meaning that WWE and Triple H's PR scheme, it's not really a scheme, but roll with me here, was ill-effective. It was a confusing answer to a heated question. TED Talk, rant, over. In total, great show. Probably my favorite of the post-Mania season so far. Night of Champions 2025, 76%, 15.25 out of 20, a solid C. Man, did they just shotgun this King and Queen of the Ring tournament story. Every qualifier, so pretty much every quarterfinal match, was a fatal four-way. Then they went right into the semifinals and the finals. Like, this is one of the issues with having too many shows and potentially trying to counter-program other shows. You end up just making half-assed wrestling shows. If you focus on solely your own product and your product alone, you'll make more coherent stories, meaning better shows. You can watch what other companies are doing without shotgunning your own show's programming. I much rather would have had a long-term 1.5 month long storyline of singles matches leading up to the Night of Champions finals match. Instead, we just had about 3 weeks of fast-paced build-up. The tournament would have been better if it was an extra 1 to 3 weeks added on top of it. Or, if you only had 3 weeks, have some competitors wrestle 2 to 3 times on one show. That's exciting. They've done it before. Why not just do it again? Anyway, enough ranting. On to the actual show. I loved the show. The show opener with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton was my match of the night. The subtle heel turns for both of them were fun to see. I really hope neither one of them turn heel. There was a moment where Randy wanted to hit the punt kick. There was a moment where Cody was, pretty much picking apart a body part and taking out Orton's lower back, and eventually he shoved Orton into the exposed turnbuckle, which led to his victory. So they're teasing a heel turn for both of them. If one man needs to turn heel, I'd rather have them turn Randy, because Randy is the better heel. I loved Cody's heel run on the indies, but it's way too soon for them to turn WWE's Golden Boy, WWE's new Superman, which is very relevant for this week, to become the bad guy. It's way too soon. So WWE, please don't do it. Rhea and Raquel had a great street fight. Sammy and Cross did a decent match, but I would have liked to have seen Cross actually win. I also don't understand this rumor where people are saying that Cross doesn't do flat back bumps. That doesn't make any sense. I've seen him do flat back bumps a billion times. So for there to be a rumor saying that he's not being pushed or other talent don't like him in both TNA, NXT, and WWE because he doesn't bump is just blatantly false. I don't know where it came from, but yeah, just the internet is wacky sometimes. Jade won in 8 minutes, defeating Asuka in the Queen of the Ring finals. It was great to see that she won, but this tournament final, it needed more build, it needed a longer match. Asuka also just returned. I saw Jade winning because they're probably going to have Jade defeat Tiffany, and they're going to have Naomi cash in on Jade to keep that storyline going. I know Naomi is going to have an amazing WWE Championship run, but they needed more storytelling with this actual Queen of the Ring final. Finally, the Punk vs. Cena match was awesome. It's maybe not as good as the Orton-Cena, but it's technically better. The build was hit or miss. The pipe bomb from Cena was good. The Doctor of Punkonomics from Punk was not. The match itself was Seth teasing the cash-in and Cena teasing the face turn, but ultimately using the Seth distraction and the briefcase hit to capitalize and retain was great. Anyways, yep, good show. I enjoyed it. Looks like we're getting Cena and Cody 2 at Hot Mania. Probably going to get Punk and Seth in a match, maybe Hell in a Cell to keep the Revolution, aka the Bronze, out of it. Maybe going to see a Roman return, maybe a Rock return. Naomi is definitely going to cash in on Jade when Jade beats Stratton. And yeah, no real concrete matches yet, but I'm sure we'll talk more about this in the next coming weeks. Okay, shorter episode this week, but next week we'll probably be talking about Jurassic World Rebirth. Very excited for that. Probably be talking about AEW All in Texas and WWE's counter-programming of Evolution 2 and Saturday Night's main event with Goldberg and Gunther. See, we can't even properly build up SummerSlam because we have at least 2 more PLEs and special events to get through first. Stop this counter-programming, WWE. Just focus on you. Anyways, we will be talking about Superman eventually. I cannot wait to see that. And yeah, make sure you guys hit the follow button and hit the bell notification and everything like that. And hopefully I will remember to put the bell notification up this week. But as always, have a great day. Savvy.